Young people are increasingly hooked on the dopamine hit they get from screen time after almost a year of lockdowns. More and more parents worry about their children spending hours on computers and phones, gaming and studying. They fear it might become an addiction.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, I've spent about 8 hours a day in front of a computer. Before, I hardly used it. Now I couldn't live without a phone or a computer.
Benedetta is 18. She lives in Genoa, Italy. She's among the 1.6 billion students worldwide whose education has been disrupted by the pandemic. Her school classes went online for most of 2020 and still are.
Benedetta, what do you think about what happened in the US 10 days ago, and more specifically about the attack on Capitol Hill?
I think that what happened a few days ago in the United States is shocking. Shocking because it was quite unexpected.
Although remote learning has maintained some kind of educational continuity during the pandemic, it has also been hugely criticized for keeping students glued to their screens. But not everybody agrees.
Students tend to reject the screen as they start associating it with many hours of distance learning. This doesn't mean they avoid using their phones, because that's become a relatively new way to stay in contact with people, perhaps the only way.
Benedetta admits the time she spends on her smartphone has skyrocketed since the pandemic started. She also says she surfs social media for hours without even realizing it.
I'm less keen to do things. I'm lazier. I tend to say, OK, I'll rest for 5 minutes, and then I find myself 2 hours later on the couch checking TikTok or Instagram. It happens especially in the evening. So I struggle to sleep. I feel awake, agitated. I'm having trouble falling asleep. Spending all these hours in front of the computer means they interact less with the family. As a parent, I often ask myself, will this lead to addiction?
Benedetta's mother is not the only one worrying, nor is she the first. In 2017, the local health authority in Genoa gathered experts to study the emerging phenomenon of youth cyber addiction. We attended their latest virtual meeting.
We received double the amount of requests for support and intervention post-lockdown. In the last 3 months, October, November, December, we have taken on 10 kids identified as cyber addicts.
The group's coordinator, Cristiana Busso, says their new patients are predominantly young males who already had an unhealthy relationship with digital devices before the pandemic. Remote learning did not cause their addiction.
We don't suggest measuring technology addiction in terms of time spent in front of the devices. Parents often consider this as the main problem. We can better understand addiction related to the kind of use young people have with the screens. The question we have to ask is, how do the kids use the net and why for so long?
So how do you identify real screen addiction in a connected generation? We went to Paris to ask one of the most prominent researchers on cyber addiction. Michael Stora is a psychologist, author, and founder of the Observatory on Digital Worlds in Human Sciences.
Little by little, the person will do nothing other than play. The relationship with the video game will be similar to other kinds of addictions. The game will become more important than other social activities. Virtual bonds take over real-life bonds. If in 6 months the person can't overcome this way of functioning, the diagnostic is cyber addiction.
According to Stora, 98% of young people suffering from cyber addiction have high IQs, but they also often have social and school phobias or autistic troubles.
When these young people are faced with failure, they break down. Video games become a kind of interactive antidepressant. Above all, video games allow them to become virtual heroes, to continue fighting with great results. They succeed, but they're quick and easy victories. It's the opposite. In real life, succeeding takes time. You need to persevere.
But Stora is convinced that for these kids, gaming addictions can be turned into an asset. This is why he created the Hero School, where a select number of hardcore gamers train to become video game designers.
I don't have a relationship with technology, I am the technology. Every day I spend, I would say, if I'm being conservative, 13 to 14 hours in front of a screen, or maximum 16. I don't think I'm a cyber addict. I haven't been diagnosed as one, but either way, it doesn't bother me.
Fidi is 16. He dropped out of school a year ago. His social skills are impaired by Asperger's syndrome. His autistic disorder has challenged him and his parents for years. Today, they consider technology an ally.
For him, I feel like video games are a refuge, a place where he feels good, where he's happy. It's more of a consolation rather than an addiction problem to solve.
We established the rules before COVID, so I'm totally free. The internet is just cut off at night. That makes me profoundly sad.
It's too early to tell the full impact of prolonged social isolation on young people. More time is needed to know whether increased cyber addiction will end with the pandemic and to what extent it's reversible.
To me, screens are not another world. They are part of real life.